Alright, welcome everybody. Hope you all had a great weekend and I hope you all have a great week ahead. Next, we're going to go ahead and go to One Piece, the big 700, which just came out today, out in Japan as well as on Weekly Shonen Jump. There was so much information provided this week. I mean, it was really amazing. It was a really informational chapter where you got to learn so much. So let's go ahead and jump into this a little bit, shall we? Alright, so we pick up, and everybody's reading the news, and, the panic starts to set in for some people, and we're seeing here, it says, what does this mean for our weapons deal with the Don Quixote family? I'm doing my best to get in touch, I swear, but no one's picking up. So we see here they definitely have all kind of weapons deals with people. Somebody's fighting a war, and what they're saying, without our weapons, the war is lost. And we see Bonnie here, and she says all those crazy rookies from 2 years ago are teaming up now, eating a slice of pizza. I wonder who eats more, her or Luffy? 'Cause I mean, man, she can put some stuff away. She can put some stuff away, man. I tell you that much there now. But I'm looking forward to see how she comes back into the storyline. I know that she does have something against Luffy, but we just have to wait and see how that's gonna unfold. And we see Jimbei and what looks to be Crocodile. Everybody's reading it, and they're wondering, the lions they wonder how the lions got leaked, from the kids' pirate hideout. And what we see there is, and actually, yes, I did. When we're looking at this page, we do see the Thriller Bark ship. So when it says there, hold on, give me one moment. Who's this freelance writer Apsa? And seeing that Thriller Bark ship, I did hear some other people say that that was Absalom from Thriller Bark. If you all go back and remember that, he was the invisible guy that Sanji fought against. And Sanji said that that was the devil fruit that he wanted as well. So it appears that Absalom, he just shortened his name and became a writer. Now, whether he's just doing it for himself or you can speculate on that, but that's how that information got out. And he has the perfect way to do that because he is invisible. So, and what Kid is saying, the problem here is that Straw Hat and Trafalgar Law, they're clearly after one of the emperors, just like us. The question is which one. So we go ahead, we see Doflamingo, and he picks up the phone. And what we see here is Luffy. Oh man, Luffy saying, "Hello, this is Monkey D. Luffy speaking, future king of the pirates." And I mean, he is just yelling at the top of his. He says, "Hey Mingo, so you're the boss of this ding dong Caesar who was doing such horrible things to Brian beating those kids, right?" We're giving Caesar back since that was the deal, but if you ever do anything like that, I'm coming after you this time. Oh man, you just have to love Luffy because yeah. And we see Flamingo's response to that. He says, "Straw Hat, what have you been up to these 2 years since your brother's tragic death?" That's a secret I'm not supposed to say, Luffy says. And we see Usopp trying to restrain him. So, don't be saying too much. You know how Usopp is always a very cautious one. Let's see. And what Doflamingo is telling him, he has something you will be desperate to get your hands on. And we go see Luffy starts to get happy. He says, "Tell me more. What kind of meat is it? How good does it taste?" We all know how Luffy loves his meat, man. Hey, hey, if the man loves his meat, he loves what he loves. So, and Trafalgar saying, "Don't give him the momentum." And Luffy goes off and talking about one juicy meat, two juicy meats, and we hear Usopp telling him to get a grip, Luffy. It's the deadly, it's the deadly his momentum attack. So I know in the other translations they called it pace. Here in Weekly Shonen Jump, it's called momentum. So here's momentum attack, momentum attack. So what does that do exactly? I did hear people talking about there was like his charisma, his charisma, he just draws you in with his words. So Flamingo is definitely one that's definitely going to be a tough fight. Should be extremely good fight, but it'll be a tough fight for Luffy. And what we have Law here saying 8 hours from now, Green Bit, the lone island north of Dressrosa, on the beach of the southeastern shore. So what we have here, Green Bit, is a lone island north of Dressrosa. It's not on Dressrosa, it's just north of it. And he says go to the southeastern shore. He's saying we'll leave Caesar there at 3 in the afternoon. You may retrieve him at your leisure. There would be no other contact. And we get, and Flamingo's, doing what he does with the talking, and Luffy is just, man, oh man, he wants some meat. He wants some meat. He's saying he was almost fell into that momentum trap, but well, in this one it says I almost fell into the momentum trap again, but yeah, his eyes has the ham signs on it, so oh man. And what we get here is they're having a conversation because the one thing about this, Law does not know what that Smile Factory is. So they're definitely going to get up on there and they're going to have to find that factory. Number one. So, and we have some more comedy here. And what we see, Robin is like, she says, Traffy, have you been to this place before? Dress Olga. And no, it's Rosa. Rosa, no, it's his kingdom. Luffy says, in that case, we can think it over when we get there. And he's all happy because he smells an adventure. And and that's what being a pirate for Luffy is all about. Having a big old grand adventure. I know I did see some other people say that how they were kind of disappointed with his character after the time skip. They wanted him to be more serious. But that's just the way Luffy is. He's all about the adventure. The discovery of doing it all. So, it really does fit him. And Luffy, we get Trafalgar Law says, they talking about what they eat. He says, no bread on mine. He says, I hate it. And he's like, oh yeah. So he got caught up into the straw hat way of doing things. So they're having conversations here. And we see Kenny Mon talking about, how they got stranded and, how they ended up on Dressrosa. And, and how they all got separated along the way. With them, they took off with him and another samurai and his son. They took off headed for a place called Zou. That's Z-O-U, Zou. And, the ship ended up getting wrecked and him, Kinemon, and the other samurai. It was actually 3 samurai, but 2 of them ended up on Dressrosa with his son. So where that other samurai ended up, we have no idea. Maybe he'll show up in the storyline later. And we found out the name of that when Samurai Kanjuro, protected him and allowed him to get away so he could follow Momonosuke. He said he must return. I am bound by honor. And of course, we have the typical moment there. It's Frankie, Chopper, and Luffy. They're like, let's go rescue this guy. And Law's like, don't lose sight of our original reason for going there. Oh man, so we go to the Marine headquarters in the New World. And somebody we've seen before a lot of times, Commodore, brand new. We see a lot of vice admirals and some other people, and we do finally get the confirmation that yes, Buggy is a warlord of the Seven Seas. They call him Chief Commander of the Pirate Temp Agency, the living legend, the genius Jester Buggy. And there is a seventh one, somebody who he spoke of in the previous conversation, but we have no way of knowing who that is now. And in this translation, it says the heavenly demon Don Quixote do Flamingo. So I know I saw in the other translations where they were talking about the sky demon, but this one they call him the heavenly demon Don Quixote do Flamingo. And we do see the other, everybody else there as well. And they're having a conversation, and we see Akainu, and he's going about saying, I'm not having Law or Straw Hat get into any funny business under my nose. I already had Smoker down in G5 screeching my ear off in his report yesterday. We'll sit back and watch for a full day. I've got Fujitora on the case. So who is Fujitora? I can assume maybe that's one of the other admirals. So if he's dispatched another, an admiral out there, but it's somebody he has keeping an eye on, Kate, with an eye out on things. So we're gonna definitely have to wait and see in the future chapters to come. And we see Baby Five, and we see a new character. It's one of another of Doflamingo's crew, and he is pretty funny as well. I mean, he appears to be some kind of like I want to say like some kind of slug. Like he has some kind of slug ability. Yeah, he's all kind of creepy. Yeah, stay away from me with all that. He has his own. He has his own particular funny thing as well, where he invades your personal space. I mean, man, and how he won't do something until you tell him not to do it, then he'll do it. So they call him the hero of the Colosseum. And though we see here, we do see the chairs here. So we obviously, yeah, in the shape of the card. So Doflamingo has this kind of ranking system. I'm not sure if it's just him or maybe that's a family thing, within the Quixote family. And so he's entrusting Diamante with something, and what we see here is that it's the flame fruit. That's Ace's. So Doflamingo had Ace's devil fruit, and what he's saying is he won't want any man getting his hands on this baby. So Doflamingo's pretty confident that Luffy won't want anybody else to have, to have that devil fruit. Which may, I can see it, and we see here on the last page that they're at the island. They're at Dressrosa with the huge boulders, and and Usopp wants them to quiet it down. And hey, that's just Usopp for you. All right. So this, yeah, like I said, this chapter had so much information. I didn't go over everything in detail. I only have so much time, but you can pretty much get a good general idea of everything that happened within this chapter from you know we from everything that we did see. I'm not so sure that Luffy will be exactly hung up on the devil fruit, but if anything, I can see him eating it. I don't know. I just kind of get the sense that Luffy may eat that devil fruit, and cause I'm thinking that maybe it's just you have to have the will of D in order to be able to eat multiple devil fruits at the very least. So that is just one theory, one of many thoughts to come from a lot of people about what's going to happen with that devil fruit. So it's definitely going to be fun to see how everything plays out, and so it should be very exciting in the future chapters to come. All right, I hope everybody, like I said, have a great week, everybody, and take care.